I wanted to do this really simple video about Path of Exile Hardcore. Started on Sunday, it is now Friday, we are dead in Hardcore. Instead of streaming today to just surmise my thoughts on Hardcore and surmise really, is it worth it for you and should you play it? It's a very brutal mode, you die once and you lose everything you own on that character, the character goes into standard. And it's a very brutal thing. This niggling thing in the back of my head that I should try it once, right? And I've tried it. So I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on, again, is it worth it? And in the background running, I don't know why I'm pointing behind me, but in the background running will be clips of me taking on all the bosses I managed to fight, in the campaign, the leveling, and again, my death and some close calls. So the key things to note about Hardcore from my playing through, at least, slow. And why is it slow? Because you can't die. Now, that is fine for me personally. I actually don't mind it being slow for a couple of reasons. I have completed all the challenges in Softcore, which means I'm not trying to rush to kill Shaper. I'm not trying to get 126 Atlas bonus. I'm not trying to, again, kill all the Guardians corrupted. So for me to drop into Hardcore right now, where we're into the back half of the league, it's fine, and I'm enjoying that slowest type of pace. You would start from a fresh, been in Hardcore, because obviously you have nothing, you don't have a stash, you've never played before. So it's like starting the league again. To go into Hardcore with nothing and work your way back up, to me personally, is interesting. Now, to a lot of people, they probably couldn't imagine anything worse. The leveling is kind of slow. For me personally, I take it slow and steady, right? It's better to go slow and do a 10-hour leveling process than rush and do a 7-hour process and die on the 7th hour, because then you've wasted the whole 7 hours. So for my first time doing Hardcore, I wanted to take it nice and slow, sort of breathe it all in, think about the fights, think about the boss fights, how to tackle them, and just simply not die. That was my goal, to get to Dried Lake, which I managed to achieve. I don't know how everybody plays Hardcore, but me personally, there are a few notable things throughout my time playing Hardcore, my short time. Strong boxes, you ID them. Might not seem a big thing. Can get a little bit tedious IDing all the boxes. Now, if you've got an amazing build and you feel pretty invincible, you can probably blindly open these. You've got all your pot setups, your anti-freeze, but at the beginning, you're not really going to open up boxes when you have no pots, because if you haven't got an anti-freeze or, whatever the box may be, detonate dead and you don't quite catch it, you don't want to die. Sometimes in Softcore, even though you know a boss is coming up, you still prepare for it. You don't want to die. I guess YOLO the boss, and if for some reason you just don't have quite enough damage and you get one death and he's really low, you just go back to the zone and he kills you, and then you kill him again and you sort of zerg your way through it. This makes leveling, for me personally, a little bit more enjoyable, which might sound weird because you're going slower, you are taking your time, but it makes the events in the campaign seem meaningful. After playing Softcore, and I'm sure you all know this, basically what leveling in Softcore is who can get to Dried Lake the fastest, right? You whack on your tabula, you 6-link some skill, and you smash your way through. You might have 1 or 2 deaths, and you get to Dried Lake, and then you put on the gear that you need, and your build takes shapes. Now, what is interesting about that is it's a very quick turnaround. You can make a lot of builds in Softcore very quickly. I made a build to level 90 in a day, and I got to experience Marauder Blade Flurry. I've played a day in Hardcore, and I just got to Dried Lake. Yes, I was going slow, but I imagine most people will go slow too. For me, it was a slow pace, but it was a nice slow pace. Now, there is a flip side to that when you do die, you start to think to yourself, that was a really slow leveling. Do I really want to level all again? Difference for me, the main difference between Hardcore and Softcore is you always get to maps. You will always get to map. Now, in Hardcore, that is not the case. Your tree has to be either flexible enough to be safe and then transition, and you have to get that transition right, and that feels rewarding. Like, one of the stages was me where I was getting a little bit too much HP in Cruel, and I had to dial back getting the HP and get some more damage, and I managed to stay alive throughout Cruel, and that balance felt nice. It felt rewarding. Like, you kill the certain big boss and you think, nice, my tree actually came out, it came good. Now, for people that don't have a lot of time, I don't think hardcore is for you, because it is so soul crushing to lose your character. I will be honest, at first you'll watch the video of me dying, I was laughing, and it didn't really bother me. Even now, it doesn't really bother me because I've done all the challenges. But if I hadn't got all those challenges and I had to sit and think about re-leveling up to get into maps to get some of these challenges, yeah, it is a big time sink, and it can be a problem for those that don't have a lot of time to play. Now, again, there's a flip side. There's always a flip side. One of the things is you really go on a journey with your character a lot more than with softcore. Again, softcore, you're always getting to maps. You're always going to get into, high-end content realistically, because you can try it, and if you can do it, great. If not, then, you died and you choose a lower tier map. With hardcore, you don't have that option. So you have to make sure your guy's safe. You have to make sure he can do certain things or not do certain things. One of the slightly irritating things about hardcore, for me, is I missed a lot of the content, right? I knew my character couldn't do breaches in a certain position. If I just attacked something and the AI were going off in one direction, I knew that if I then opened a breach, the AI is kind of bad and it wouldn't come back and protect me in the breach, and that's how I died. And I knew that's how I would die. So to be safe, I basically didn't really open that many breaches, and at that point, you're missing out Breach League if you're not really opening that many breaches until your build's good. Now, you can look at it again on the flip side and say that, well, you're playing smart. You know this will kill your character, so you are avoiding it until your character is strong enough to deal with it. But, again, that is kind of boring. We are playing a game for entertainment, and skipping the breaches, skipping those spicy moments where you can almost live, is in a way a downside to hardcore. In hardcore, for me, I played very, very safe. I knew the only thing that could kill me was basically what killed me. A swarming breach whilst my AI was over there, and that's exactly what happened. It was my own misplay, but I knew that's how I would die. So I didn't really gain anything out of my death. I knew that's how I would die, and that is how I died. I don't really gain any amazing knowledge, any mechanics of the game. All that really happened was I played it very, very slow. I had one small mistake, and I've lost everything. That, to somebody, might sound very interesting. It might sound like a fun process. But to a lot of people, it might sound the worst thing possible. A couple of benefits to hardcore is it's a better game economy. I really like trading. I really like playing the economy. I like making currency. Each league I make basically about 80 spare odd exalts. That seems to be what I make. I made about 80 exalts last league, and I had my gear. This league I've got 80 exalts and I've got like 3 characters geared, so I'm a bit more fed in this league. And I like to play the game. I like to do the high level content to get currency and craft and stuff like that. That is going to be a lot harder in hardcore, because it's so much more difficult to get into maps and stay alive that making currency and crafting is very tough. But you have to think of it this way. This is the only league in the game where items are removed. So if you die, let's say 1,000 people with Belly of the Beasts die. There are then 1,000 less Belly of the Beast that have to be refound. This keeps the prices relatively high, and one of the most enjoyable things for me personally was that the economy stayed active. In softcore right now, I've put my money into crafting, and I've crafted quite a lot of good things, but ultimately nothing's selling because everyone's alive, everyone's got the really good gear, they're not losing anything. So towards the end of softcore, basically the only things that sell are the really GG items, because everyone's wealth is always building. You get richer and richer and richer and richer, which is more fun because you get to craft more things, you get to wear crazy items. But there is also this thing that when you start to craft at the end of a league, when you get bored, again, you might make a nice pair of gloves that should sell for 40 chaos, but they just don't sell because everyone's already got those type of gloves. No one's died with them. No one needs to replace the gear. In hardcore, I was selling boots that I was thinking like, ooh, these are level 30 boots. These have life, these have a couple of resist, and they've got move speed. these will be nice for people that want to stay alive throughout the 30 to level 60 period. And they were selling 2C ago. I was selling unique wands for 3C ago. I was selling amulets with literally dexterity and 80 life for 1C. These things just don't sell in softcore. It just doesn't happen. Because what does it really matter? Are you going to go out and spend 3 chaos on a pair of boots to stay alive through Act 4 Malachi? Do you need extra 300 HP in hardcore? Yeah, you might do. You might think, I'll spend 3C to stay alive. But in softcore, that doesn't happen because you think, well, if it kills me once, I'll just go back, kill it, and jog on to Dried Lake. So for me, the economy was so much better. Now, my sort of surmising thoughts, and I've probably missed a lot out, is that it's slower, it has a better economy, you go on a better journey with your character, but again, there is that thing where you are missing out on a lot of content and moments, and people say hardcore is the better game, maybe, but you are missing out on moments. For example, there are lots of times in my softcore character I have rolled the most rippy map possible just to say to myself, can I survive? And I'll do it deathless, and it'll be a really intense fight, and I'll manage to stay alive. Right? I can't do that in hardcore, because why would I roll the most ridiculous map possible to challenge myself and stay alive? There are moments in softcore that you cannot get in hardcore, believe it or not. It's not that hardcore is this mecca. The game is exactly the same. To me, I am not a stupid player. I did hardcore once and I got to Dried Lake. Yeah, I had a stupid death, but I'm not a stupid player. I understand that you have to have certain damage and certain HP values to get through certain zones. And I didn't really die to any bosses, obviously. I just did the campaign fine. It wasn't really a problem. And I didn't really learn much. So for me, leveling in hardcore would be pretty standard all the way through. You know, you get certain HP values, you get certain things, and yeah, it will be intense. But you're not really learning much, and you can miss out on a lot of cool moments from softcore. And ultimately, when you die, you get PoE depression. I didn't understand what PoE... I'm joking, but PoE, for me, when I died, I really had PoE depression. I died, and I was okay, and then I sat there and I thought, fuck, I've, actually lost my character. That's, all that time wasted. And I didn't want to play PoE for a couple of days. And that's something I guess you have to learn to deal with. And some people won't like that. Some people will just simply not like the fact that it is ultimately so punishing that a lag death, one slight misplay, not running a log out macro, which I could have run and logged out, costs you. It is not by any stretch of the imagination a so much better game that you have to play hardcore, in my opinion. From my brief spell playing it, the main reason why I would go back into playing hardcore is the economy. The removal of items just makes things so much better, because people that are re-rolling will always be buying your gear. That's how I see it. That you craft something nice, or you craft a mid-level piece, it will sell. And in a way, that funds all your other characters. Stuff sells more. Think of it this way. You might die more, but stuff is selling more, so you have more cash to do more characters. So it's a bit of a sort of to and fro topic. And after playing it, would I play it again? Probably. But I definitely wouldn't absolutely recommend it. I would say it is entirely up to you, which might seem like a bit of a pointless video, but from my perspective, it's got a better economy, more active players, you go on a better journey with your character, but ultimately, one thing can cost you and you lose your entire character, and that is just, for me, probably too much of a punishment. Because of the way I like to play, I like to test, can this character actually leech through double Val Temple boss? Now, I can't really do that on hardcore, can I? I can probably do it at the very end if I think, you know what, I'll risk my character. But you don't learn stuff very quickly. In hardcore, saying right now I've learned that SRS is bad at breaches, that cost me a day's gameplay to learn that. In softcore, I can go and do that, rip to a breach and think, right, probably shouldn't be doing those in that situation, and you learn and you move on. So in softcore, it's all about quicker turnaround. You learn more, quicker builds, quicker to maps, and you ramp up a lot faster because you don't lose anything. In hardcore, it's a much more slower process, and I think that is why people play it, because in softcore you can very quickly burn out. I think softcore, you play a shit ton, you absolutely hammer the league, you get really fed, and like right now, even if I die 100 times on my Flame Blast character, I can still sign in and play it. So for me, it kind of gets a bit boring, whereas in hardcore, I guess, you're going to get slightly less burnt out because you're always working on something and the progression is there, but you can die and lose everything, which again is so time consuming, it's pretty damn depressing, and it's not fun. There's not really a fun factor to dying in hardcore. It's the thrill of trying to stay alive. Again, would I recommend it? I would say my recommendation is try it and just see. There's no like way for me to tell you if it's good or bad, because people are different. People think they like different things until they try it. I thought I would absolutely hate it, and I'm sat here thinking maybe I could re-roll again. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed that different type of video. I've got some videos that I've been recently uploading. I've got my rip, I've got some shaper runs, I've got some little back and forth small videos. I'm trying to make daily videos. There are two ways I can do it. I can make daily videos, or I can make videos less often but probably better quality. For the moment, I'm just going for daily videos to keep the channel active. And I wanted to say thanks to all the support. We've had so many more views this league than we had last league on my YouTube channel. And we've had so many more supporters in Twitch, which is amazing. So shout out to you guys, and people watching. And that's really it. I wanted to just make this video to maybe you can, make your own mind up about hardcore. But personally, that is my thoughts. I think you can miss some content out. You can ultimately have a better experience with your character, but it is pretty damn soul crushing when you die. And it's going to be very tough to get all the challenges in hardcore, right? You might not kill Shaper. I don't know many people that are farming Shaper on hardcore. You might not get to try Uber because you're scared of losing your character. So there are things you can miss out on, experiences in the game that you can try in hardcore. So it's up to you guys, but those are my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.